Hello, everyone. This is Doug Davis, broker in charge for Caron Realty in Honolulu here. And today I'm going to talk about after the fact permits. Comes up a lot in my business over the years, and I've got a couple that I'm doing right now. But what do you do when you have a lanai that was enclosed, a garage that was enclosed? Maybe someone put a bathroom in, electric, plumbing, no permits. So what's up with that? What happens to you? Does it matter? Who cares? Probably the city cares. So, but here's some of the repercussions. So you do have repercussions from the city. That's one group, and there's other things too, not city, that it will have repercussions with. But let's go over the city one first. Okay, so let's say you enclose a garage, and you still have room for your cars on the property. That's fine. They park your cars outside on the apron. But you've now got a larger square footage, and you're not paying interior square foot real property tax on that. So the city is getting less than they could or should with your larger square footage. Okay, you may have done electric and plumbing in there. All right, was the licensed electrician used? Was the licensed plumber used? Was it done to code? Okay, so you might have to bring the addition up to today's code. It changes all the time. So maybe you didn't put enough electric plugs in there, so that might have to be done. The city will eventually, if you're going to get an after-the-fact permit, that's what it's called, after-the-fact permit, they may want to see the electric behind the wall. They may want to see the plumbing behind the wall. So you might have to open it up. Yikes. So, tearing out walls, that's not a fun thing. If they feel that this addition was done and you should have known better, like if you're a contractor, I had a contractor that did an addition, and they came down on him when it was discovered, and they made him hurricane clip the entire house, up on top and down at the bottom. And that meant he had to tear the walls out in that section, drywall, and then he had to replace it and refinish it and then repaint it. So that was pretty onerous on his part, having to do that. But he knew better because he was a contractor. So you'll also have to pay double permit fee. So if it's $500 fee, you pay $1,000 because you didn't do it correctly. So yeah, and then the old code versus new code. You may have put in one plug along the wall, and that might have been to code in the day, but today's code is a plug about every 8 feet, I believe, of linear wall space. So you might have to put in extras. All right, so those are some of the things the city might do. Oh, and they might also do retroactive tax. Like you had an extra 400 square feet, so much tax would have been due over the last 10 years, 20 years, and then ask you to pay what you didn't pay for all of those years. Not as likely, but they have apparently that right. Okay, so other industries that would be involved. Let's say you're going to sell the property and you don't have this permitted. Well, the appraiser will not use that extra square footage, but you want to be able to support your sale price, and you want to get a good appraisal so the buyer can get their loan amount. So it behooves you to get it permitted so that'll all count. and that extra square footage will go into the value of the home and have a higher appraisal. Yikes. So that's important. The buyer may not want to be involved with a property that isn't properly permitted. So they could back out of a deal if it's discovered during escrow. Or they may not offer on it. No, to begin with, if they know about it and it's not permitted. You might go through a refi later on, and it shows up in the appraiser's report, and you may not be able to get the refinance that you want or the amount of a refinance. So yeah, there's repercussions if it's not permitted correctly. If you're just there and you're living in it and no one's the wiser, nothing happens. But it's when things change, that's when it matters. Or maybe you do it and you pass away and the kids get it, and then it's their headache now. So, okay, well, it's not the end of the world. So how do you fix it? So it's all about permits. I'm sorry, blueprints. You've got to have blueprints of the house to submit for the new area. So if you don't have permits, then you have to start from scratch and get it. So I'm doing one house right now, and it was built before 1978, which is the date that the building department has records of blueprints of all the houses on Oahu, but nothing older. So this is an older house, no blueprints. So they have to start from scratch and get new blueprints. It's not onerous. Architects, draftsmen do that all the time. Just cost a little bit more money. And then they draw the new stuff in. And do the electrical plan, the plumbing plan, if that's part of it, and the structure. And then, yes, you do have to invite the city inspector in to inspect what's been done. And that's when it's up to the building inspector's discretion as to what he may or may not need. So if he needs to look behind the wall to see if you used what type of wiring, then he'll ask it to be opened up. Maybe he'll ask for hurricane clips. Maybe he'll ask for GFCI plugs in the bathroom that you put in, wherever there's water. Okay, so the architect will get you through with the blueprints, get to the submit for the permit, have the inspections. What else? Well, the city inspector may ask for your electrified smoke alarm system to be installed, because it probably doesn't have that. You probably have battery, but they might want it to be wired into the house. And then your overall, you're going to have perhaps an architect, draftsman involved. You might have an electrician, a plumber, handyman, drywallers. You may have to hire all these different people to accomplish what you need to do. And remember, handyman, it's $1,500 or less, right, for not getting a permit. Well, you need a permit for all the stuff you've done, but if you're doing other stuff, you can go up to $1,500. And you need someone probably to help coordinate, whether it be the architect helps you, or a real estate person helps you, or a contractor that knows how to do this, are all people that can help you through the process of all of those moving parts. But it's not that difficult, really. And it can be cured. And you really need to do it if you're going to be selling a house. And that's where I get involved and help people with the process so that we don't have a problem later. It's one of the big hangups that could make a mess of your sale. So If you need any help with that or advice, glad to look at emails or calls. And there you have it. All right. Thanks so much and see you next week.